It's the wall. What's he gonna do? Karate kick? His big thing is to just... Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh Play Day! Can you tell I'm excited? I love play days. I don't have them often enough, though. I like to build up a good amount before I show it, and then sometimes I'm waiting on stuff, and I think, oh, I wish that would come before I get to play day, but it doesn't, and then I gotta play. I gotta do it. And if you're new to this is essentially me looking at third-party items, or I throw some head from one figure onto another, or do a little bit of customizing. Other people send me stuff. Just some blood, sweat, and tears, because there are some talented people out there, I'm telling you. And there's just a feeling you get when you have something that you put together yourself, or you modified it, and nobody else has anything exactly like it. It's something that you enjoy, so if it makes you happy, swap that head. They're your toys. Play with them. Okay, first up, to get it out of the way, because a lot of people ask me this, the Mafex Marvel Wolverine. People have their problems with them. The blue stripes are a bit distracting visually, but they never really bothered me much. There's some paint slop here and there, but I love the proportions, and I love the yellow, I love the metallic blues, and then the articulation. Just overall, it's a kick-ass Wolverine figure. But there is the problem of the arm being able to pop off probably easier than it should. And that's because of all the engineering that they put into this part right here. There's actually several layers to all this. The elbow that goes through a bicep sleeve and plugs in. If you take everything off and plug it in like this, there's a distinct pop and then an unmistakable second pop. Too fast. Pop. Pop. And with that, it is tighter than it is with everything on it. It doesn't want to come off as easy. It still comes out, but it is more secure. You know where this is going. This all gets in the way of that peg plugging into that plug inside the shoulder. With everything on it, it's just one pop, so it's looser to pull off. So my simple but not surefire fix for this is to shave down the bottom of the shoulder a bit. What you're trying to do is get that peg further into the shoulder. So with it shaved down, you get two pops. The Mafex Venom has this exact same setup, and it's not easy to pop out. So besides the system working against itself, peg also has a bit of a tolerance problem, but that will get you a tighter fit. Like any customizing, whenever you're not sure how much to take off, take a little, plug it in, see if it works. Shave a little more, plug it in, see if it works. Over and over and over. And with as much as I actually took off the shoulder there, I was afraid it was going to show from under the bicep, but no, it's hidden all the way around. And yes, I've had this how many months? I don't even remember when this came out, but I never did the right shoulder knowing that I would want to eventually shoot this. Now I can do the right shoulder. See how that works. Now here's a simple store-bought mystery machine. We knew that figures were coming for the new Scoob movie, but we weren't sure exactly how big the figures were. And I didn't even know a mystery machine was a thing until I was at Walmart and it was just sitting there on the shelf. It definitely looked bigger in person than the one that came with Fred. I've seen that for years. I never picked it up. But this, in the package, and I held Marvel Legends up at Walmart, and I thought, ooh, that's gonna be close. And I'll be damned if this doesn't actually fit Marvel Legends figures. I wish the door opened. It'd make it a little bit easier to get the characters in, and the leg room is a little bit tight. Hey, Spider-Man, you get over there. But once you get them in there, yeah, it looks fantastic. Of course, it's cartoony. It has these surfboards up on top, some weird soft electronics, but the shape itself, and then the colors, the decals, the design, it is so unmistakably Scooby-Doo. It's insane. The tires roll. The back does open, and when I first got it out of the... Oh, hey, Punisher. When I first got it out of the box, the doors didn't want to close, but as time, I guess it's settled or something, the doors are a lot easier to snap shut. And here you can see Punisher just standing beside it. It's cartoony, yes. It's not gonna make for the most perfect Punisher van if you want to repaint it, but it's a ding-dang mystery machine that you can fit Marvel Legends figures into. That is awesome. And for 20 bucks, you're getting quite a bit of plastic on top of electronics. So yeah, a hell of a deal. Oh, I got me an E-Web for my Star Wars shelf. I've always wanted one of these. I used to love these things back in the day, but I thought, oh, I could try to fudge the 3 3/4 inch stuff in, but it won't fit. I'm gonna have to wait till somebody 3D prints one. Along comes Layered Creations. I've gotten several things from him before, including my skiff that's up on the shelf, but when the Mandalorian came along and used one of these things, well, it was a couple times, wasn't it? I knew I had to have one. The legs are on a swivel, so you can set them any anywhere, get them out of the way, bring them down. The gun is up and down and side to side. Rubber hose running out to the box right here. And best of all, it's scaled for 6-inch. I mean, this is fairly large and imposing and will take a lot of room on my shelf, but I'll be damned, I had to have it. I may have gotten caught up in all the Empire Strikes Back anniversary hype. Either way, it's more toys for my toys. It's always a good thing. When the Marvel Legends Spider-Ham came out with the pork grind head, I wasn't sure who pork grind was. I always knew of Spider-Ham, but I hadn't read anything dedicated directly to the character. So I was intrigued. I put the pork grind head right onto the regular Venom, and it was okay. I mean, Spider-Ham's a little pig. I thought of pork grind as a bigger pig, but the human body kind of, I don't know, it never worked for me. So when I started seeing pictures of people taking the pork grind head and putting it on the Disney Store toy box Venom, I knew I had to do it. The proportions are way more cartoony, which I think fit the overall aesthetic of Spider-Ham. Top heavy, muscular, little spindly legs, have 3 toes, 3 fingers, which, well, 3 fingers and a thumb. But to me, that always denotes, you know, cartoon. The figure originally came with a standard Venom head and then a head that was opening up to show Brock's face. And what I essentially did was grind that down, pork grind, until it formed a socket, kinda, that I could glue the pork grind head into. You can still see the hole underneath where it plugged onto the Marvel Legends figure, but this is never coming off. This is now my pork grind. Don't know why I did that. I just hit it with a coat of glossy black paint. That match is close enough for me. This is on the shelf. This is good. It's got this awesome attachment thing down the arm that actually helps it stand up. It balances it. So I can take my Spider-Ham, and he looks good with the new pork grind. And for Spider-Ham, I haven't finished this yet. It's the Marvel Legends head on a Nendoroid body. This needs some black lines to match the body. Knees! Like I always say with the McFarlane My Hero Academia figures, the bodies are great. They're fun action figures, but there's something missing when it comes to the head. The likeness always seems a little bit off. Uraraka here, I think the cheeks are painted a little low, and I don't know, she just has kind of a dead look. Would you like to play? So what I've been doing, and several others, I didn't come up with this idea in the first place, but I hunt down the Ban Presto statues for these characters, and it's only a certain series that matches the scale with the McFarlane figures, but once you find it, oh, it's just so much better. Oh, comparing the two, it's just, you can see the difference, right? The new head has some life to it. It's less detailed to the sculpt, but I feel like that matches again to the actual reference. And her hair's a little bit more, it's using her power. Her hair's kind of flowing a bit. Being a statue and not meant to fit actual articulation, you have to get in there with a Dremel or something, drill it out, bore it out, work it until it actually fits down on there. Once you do, you look completely happy with this now. And while Amazon told me these wouldn't show up in time, I also got one for Kirishima. I wish his eyes wasn't looking off to the side, but at the same time, action pose, it looks good. And this arrived so recently that I haven't had time to work the articulation here. And then for Todoroki, here's the Ban Presto, here's the McFarlane. I never really had a huge problem with the McFarlane head, but I don't know, I feel like this one is much more accurate. But I haven't popped it on because I haven't worked the inside of the neck. You can see that the hole's there. You're supposed to put this on, but yeah, it's not fit for articulation. That's for a future play day. We'll show that later. Chrissy over at Rebel 10 Customs, she spoils the hell out of me. I think she's been in every play day, or at least the majority of play days. And this time around, she sends along, look at this. It's a miniature backpack. The stitch work, the implementation of an actual zipper around the top. You can open it up and put stuff in. I mean, look, you can even adjust the straps. And what that is for your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man to hide his clothes or his camera or whatever he needs as he's web slinging through the city. With some weight to it, it just hangs naturally. The straps come around. He's got straps hanging down. And this isn't me blowing smoke or, you know, kissing ass or anything. This backpack is damn impressive. If I didn't know any better, it'd be like, hey, did you get some PIM particles and shrink this down? Same goes for this jean jacket that I think is supposed to be on Logan, but I wanted to try it on Captain America because he just seems like a jean jacket kind of guy. Perfect world, I would have the unmasked head on here and stuff, but work with me. I've only messed with this for a minute, but I've already got the collar laying down pretty naturally. It needs a little bit of work, but I can fudge that in. But the stitch work and the actual look overall, this completely works for Rogers. High defashion. And then she also sent along a wired cape for Darth Vader. And we always need a wired cape for Darth Vader. If it's not a rubber cape, it's a hard plastic cape. Or, I don't know. It's usually something wrong with Vader capes. So we're going to take the Return of the Jedi model kit apart. Get the cape off there. Thread that onto the hole. Pop the helmet back on, and easy peasy. Much better. Flexible. You can get it wherever you want. You can fling it out. Oh, the wire runs down the front too. That's awesome. It's much more dynamic overall. So if you have a Darth Vader figure, well, okay, now I need an inside kit to get rid of these. But like I was saying, if you have a Darth Vader and you're not happy with how flat it looks, get yourself to Instagram on the Rebel 10 Customs and see if she'll make you a Darth Vader cape. Josh over at Toy Migos sent me a care package a couple of weeks ago. I was on their podcast. In fact, I'm going to be on their podcast tonight. But if you haven't checked it out, head over to their YouTube channel or their Instagram. Go from there. They're awesome to hang out with. I've met them at shows, hung out at San Diego Comic-Con. Yeah. But I opened this up and I was like, oh, you son of a bitch. This may be my first Funko Pop that actually goes into the toy room. Peely, look at that! Eh? That is awesome. I'll take Peely in any form or fashion, and this works perfectly. Banana Dada! I actually played Fortnite a couple of weeks ago. One match, me and Dis Thunder won by essentially staying out of everybody's way. But I did play as Peely, and I realized, oh, that big noggin sticking up over the top kind of gets in the way from you aiming at stuff. I want to see everything, and that doesn't work behind a banana head. But we also have a t-shirt because everybody knows Robo likes t-shirts. And then the podcast is called They're Not Dolls. So I have, oh, is that an enamel pin? Y'all guys getting fancy. Plus it says enamel pin right there. I'm a dumbass. Oh, a sparkly enamel pin. Ooh, a bigger sparkly enamel pin. Not so sparkly, same design. Some decals. Okay, my G.I. Joe fever is getting higher and higher. I'm spending too much money on eBay. I'm making some customs. It's crazy how far down the rabbit hole I've went with this. There's a lot of people using the Jazzwares Fortnite Havoc as Firefly, and it totally works. You have kind of the basic design of Firefly. Definitely the right colors. I love this gray camo. A little bit cartoony in places, but hey, it'll work for now. What, these don't look like realistic bombs to you? But the thing that bugged me the most was the Havoc face plate. The eyes are a bit cartoony. I mean, you can definitely tell. Oh, yep, that's Fortnite. So what I did on one of them was grind out the skin parts, take the head of the unmasked crossbones from the MCU 2-pack with Captain America and dremel down the head until I just had that part right there. So it's got that scarred look around the eyes. It's kind of sad, but kind of angry. It added just a slight bit of realism to it. I mean, you can still see the fur around here is not realistic at all. But making him just a little bit meaner looking, it fits in with my G.I. Joes until, well, you know Hasbro's going to do a Firefly at some point. He also needs a better gun. To further emphasize how crazy I've gotten with G.I. Joe lately, here's a custom of Outback. And I haven't full on customized in a while. It probably shows, but I'm easing back in. My love for these new figures, it's just, oh, I got to have more. The head's off eBay from Camaro Dude 1967. I'd seen it before, but that was before the G.I. Joe hype. The torso and shoulders are from Shatterstar. All I did was file off the star on the chest. The arms come from Shang-Chi. They're just plugged right on there. You can see a slight gap, but hey, we're talking about $20 toys. I'm not trying to outdo them in any way. I'm just trying to add to the roster until they, you know, make their own, and then I have to throw the customs out. The belt is also from Shatterstar, I think, and then the pants are Killmonger that I painted green where it was brown on the original figure. It's a little bit stripped down. He could use some holsters, he could use a backpack, but my thought process is Outback survivalist. He doesn't need a bunch of stuff. He may need a pack, you know, to put stuff in. I may give him a knife and call him done. But as is, he does stack up nicely with the new Classified series. But the reason I'm not upholding him and moving him around, I haven't actually built a new torso joint for him yet, or, you know, put them together or glued the belt on. I still need to do some work. Oh, and then the harnesses came from Forge. I forgot about that. And no, I didn't paint Survival there. I got some water slide decals off eBay. 87 Spuds, I saw he had G.I. Joe water slides, and these are mostly made for the 3 3/4 inch figures, but it was big enough to fit on the chest. I mean, it probably could have spanned a little further, but then it would have been under the straps. And I know that's part of the design sometimes, but I didn't want it. But I have Cobra logos. If we get to Gung Ho and he doesn't have his chest tattoo, I've got that taken care of. I have some Arashikages, all kinds of logos. Oh, I even have Decepticon with the Cobra logo around it. You can tell it's a little bit shiny in places. Right there, my dull coat's old. I went to spray it and it didn't want to do anything. So I'm waiting for hobby stores to open back up and I'll hit that. Because it's also the same for the Cobra logo I put on the Articulated Icons White Ninja. Looks good and everything until you hit the light right there. And this was the first water slide I did, and I didn't trim around it close enough. You can still see the shiny square. Oh, and here's some goodies from John Walker Customs. I've been eyeballing some of this stuff for a while. I finally pulled the trigger because, you know what? We're all stuck at home and I needed stuff to play with. First up, this heavy gun for a clone trooper. My God. I love this thing. It has silver dry brushing to show a little bit of wear, especially down here around the muzzles. This is separate pieces somehow, I believe. I thought this thing was 3D printed, but I don't know. There's some details that I don't think you can get with a 3D printer. I think that's a spring inside the barrel. Right there. The ring in there on the end, on the inside. That's crazy. I have the handle back here with the trigger and then the grip on top. This thing, ooh, I need a heavy trooper. I got a dark saber. Well, I got one ignited and then one just to hold. Again, I had seen Rebels and I'd seen a little bit of Clone Wars. I knew what the dark saber was. But man, after Mandalorian, I thought, well, I'm going to need one of those for the display. There we go. And at first I thought the grip was really big, but no, it fits right in with Sabine. But you know I'm waiting for a Gideon, right? Yeah. Here's a pauldron setup for a clone trooper. I haven't gone in there and taken apart one of my clone troopers yet, but the detail on this, this is definitely going to get used. Here's a scaled up version of the old vintage Boba Fett blaster. It just looked too good, and I needed it because I'm a sucker for both the San Diego and then my custom Kenner Boba Fett that I got a while back. The grip is a little big, but it's gonna work. Get in there. Yeah, okay. That totally makes it right there. Vintage Boba Fett looking awesome. Like I've said several times, Mandalorian hype train, I had to get the Baby Yoda in the floating crib from them. I knew we were getting a Black Series version that, you know, standing, a little bit of articulation. We're getting the SH Figure Arts version that is standing. It comes with the crib, but he doesn't lay down in it. But I wanted one that was actually laying down in there. It's just to have options, and it's not a bad thing. It didn't come with a stand, but there's a hole in the bottom already there. I'm using a Revoltech stand. That fits right on there. I mean, yeah, floaty, floaty. But the biggest reason for my order was Salacious on a pillow. We've had Jabba forever, and I have a custom throne that I never painted. It needs some work, but my biggie was not having a Salacious to go with that scene. So when I saw this offered on the website, painted and all, I thought, you know what, to hell with it. I'm just going to order it. And this will completely work. When it comes to Salacious, I don't need articulation. I would like it, you know. I like all figures with articulation, but as is, if he's just sitting there in front of Jabba, I'm happy. So on Instagram, go look at John Walker Customs and check out the Razor's Crest 6-inch scale he's working on. That thing's insane. A couple weeks ago, I got the Gamerverse Abomination wave, and while I liked the Abomination body, the head was okay, but it wasn't really Abomination-y enough for me. Abomination-y. So I popped my Raft Abomination head on there, and it was gappy and stuff, wrong color. I liked the look enough to think, oh, it could work. So I got on eBay, looked for a head cast, and I came up with this. This is from eBay user Lissalome or Lissalome or I don't know. And it's a good cast. It just needs some paint to match up with the Abomination. But in the package, I got this, and I didn't order this, but on the little baggie it said extra. And I thought, oh, look at that. That is awesome. We'll come back to Abomination in a minute, but that prompted me to order more weapons. Again, G.I. Joe. I need more guns. What caught my eye was the details are so nice and crisp, and it's a solid piece. It's not flimsy at all. I got this gun. You can just throw some silver on it or something and spruce it up a bit. I got this one. I got a couple of these because that's just awesome. You know, they look great. And then another thing that caught my eye was this Uzi, of course. The handle is noticeably short here, but once you actually get it in hand, it's not noticeable. Nobody but you is going to know that his grip goes down that far. In most poses, you're not even going to be able to tell. And just as a size comparison, here's the one that comes with the deluxe edition. Here's the one that I got off eBay. A little bit larger, but definitely usable, especially if you have snake eyes and you don't have an Uzi. And then with that order, I got an extra of whatever this big honking gun is. It's noticeably larger and beefy and just badass looking. I noticed a little bit of flash right here, but that is easy enough to clean off. But coming back around to that Build-A-Figure Gamerverse Abomination, here's the head that was included. He's got a little bit of ear fin, but I think that's my most recognizable body thing when it comes to Abomination. Abomination. I want those big fin wings on the side of his head. Plus, he looks angry, but at the same time, he looks bored angry. Oh, here, I'm gonna be. And like I mentioned, I tried the Marvel Legends raft head, but it wasn't until somebody posted a picture of the Marvel Select head popped on there that I thought, oh, yup, that's my new Abomination. It just looks so good. I mean, the colors don't match exactly, but they're close enough that it's not really noticeable unless you're just really looking for it. I had to put a little filler into the hole in the head to get the neck ball to be a little bit tighter so it'll hold position. And if you look just right, you can see some gap. But for most poses, you're not going to see it. I think it makes him look badass. This is now my comic book version of Abomination. Sure, he has ripped pants, and we're used to seeing him in just shorty shorts in the comics, but this is big, this is articulated, it's bulky, it's my new Abomination. And I won't really miss the head on the Select one, because most of the time he was just standing there like that. Not very dynamic. This thing right here, this is way more dynamic, with a face that only a mother could love. At this point, everybody who does this kind of thing knows GPS lot on eBay. And I never had a problem with the look of the Shang-Chi that Marvel Legends gave us, but when I saw this on eBay, I thought, oh, well, gotta get it. It's still Shang-Chi underneath, so his pants are hanging down to right here. And I'm eventually gonna get these to come up and around. They're a little bit tight right now. I need to do some fiddling. But even like this, all the articulation is retained. It's just a cloth suit over the bare body. And this is more reminiscent of how I remember Shang-Chi. Belt is an elastic band and a complete pain in the ass to tie. And it's probably not correct for how you're supposed to tie these kind of belts. But for now, ooh, yeah. I should probably replace the headband with cloth too, but I like how it twists and twirls out. Shang-Chi's about to kick your ass. And then finally, a couple of packages from Loose Collector. If you've been in the customizing game for any amount of time, you know Loose Collector has been around for years and kills it when it comes to customizing. He had a Megan from Excalibur a couple of weeks ago. That thing was beautiful. This time around, I grabbed some downed Archangel wings. With the original figure, it came with the big flying out, but sometimes you just want Warren standing on the shelf, hanging out with everybody else. Very nice sculpt, and I love the silver look to this. Should plug right into the back. Oh, yeah, I mean, that just sets it off. That is beautiful. It doesn't stick away from the body. It doesn't look like a separate piece. It looks like it was originally meant for this character, for this body, for this figure. Yeah, I love Archangel, and I have several, and I've shown another set of downed wings like this in a previous playday, but now I have another one for another Archangel for another shelf. But I also grabbed this because, oh, what a crazy concept. If you're not familiar with The Wall, he's an old Spider-Man villain. He didn't make it too far, okay? He didn't reach popularity heights like Green Goblin or Hobgoblin or Sandman. The Wall isn't going to have any movies made about him. But it was such a wacky thing that when this popped up in Loose Collector's eBay store, I thought, I have to have it. The sculpt work is amazing. You can see the cracks and just seams in the bricks. The legs, baggy pants look, kind of a boot with semi-laces on the front. The head, nice and angry. Which I'd be angry too if I was just a wall. But most of all, the paintwork, the colors of everything, the shading is fantastic. And unlike me, he actually does the back of customs. Unfortunately, there is no articulation. It's a cast piece. He just takes it, paints it, sells it. But I don't even care. It's The Wall. What's he gonna do? Karate kick? His big thing is to just, much like Loose Collector's Video Man, it's just one of those things that it catches people's eye when it's standing on the shelf behind characters. They're like, oh, Spider-Man, Prowler, here's some other characters, Mary Jane. Who the hell's that? And who the hell's that? Those are awesome. So at the end of the day, I have a lot more cool shit to go on my shelves. That's what it boils down to. Stuff I love, and it kind of spruces up my display. Not that having a display of action figures isn't sprucey enough, but it's something that I can look at and go, you know what? That came from so-and-so, and they do fantastic work, and I love it. And that's the name of the game. I wish I could go to other people's houses and look at their, oh yeah, you did this, and you did this. The most fun I have is going up to Veeb's house, and he has his display the way he wants it. And I can look at it and go, oh, that's an interesting choice, or where'd you get this, or who made you this, or just, yeah, love of the game. That's all you can do. Just enjoy your hobby and go from there. So if you enjoyed this Fwoosh Playday, comment, like, subscribe. Make sure to go check out these people on Instagram, check out these people on eBay, Facebook, wherever they may be, and give them some love, because this kind of thing is beautiful. It takes talent, it takes time, and you know what? Buy yourself a custom. Buy yourself a 3D piece. Buy yourself some soft goods. It's totally worth it. But wherever you may go to check out other people's stuff and all that, I'll be right here on Fwoosh.